Hey guys, M4J here, and welcome back to the Jeffries network on OpenTTD. Now we are currently following a food train. This is not one of the food trains that I set up in the last episode. This is one that I've done off camera between last episode and this episode. Reason being, I wanted to exploit the fish trade. That sounds like a weird sentence to say. Trust me, it's a weird sentence for me to say, never mind for you to hear. But it's for good reason. So this train is currently running along the coastal line, as you should all recognise. This section here, oh, if the game cooperates, there we go. This section here is new. Very new. These two locks here, they are the gateway to this. Now, this was the freight terminal that we built a little while ago, Motherboard Falls Freight Terminal. You can see I've added some new tracks. I'll talk you through those in just a second. But this is the Motherboard Basin, and then this is the East Canal, and this is the West Canal, although this does become the North Canal up here. I've also done some rebuilding work over here, which I'll talk you through in just a second as well, because it's all very important to what we're doing today. Let's start with over here. I've built a road depot over at the freight terminal. This is for certain industries, so connecting up local farms, connecting up local metal workshops, oil refineries, that sort of thing. All of these industries around here pretty much are going to be connected by road to the freight terminal. And there's one of the food trains running in. It's not the food train. Our food train's still a little ways back. They're a little out of order at the moment, but they will reorganise themselves shortly. The basin has one dock. You're only allowed one dock per station, which is a little unfortunate, but that is the rules, I'm afraid. And then we also have this here, which is a fishing harbour. This has been placed here intentionally, so that all the food actually becomes available at the freight terminal, although at the moment there are no trains to actually transport it. There will be soon. We have a series of ships, these ones here. I believe they are trawlers. Are they trawlers? Oh, they're barges. I've got them listed as trawlers. I might have to change that. They currently go around the majority of these little... In fact, if I select one of them, you can see which ones. They go around these fishing areas. So this one here, this one here, this one here, this one here, and then this one here. So there's 5. Struggled to count then for some reason. There's 5. And then they use the canals to get into the basin, where they deliver the food to the fishing harbour. Or they deliver the fish, sorry, to the fishing harbour, where it's converted to food. And then taken off by the trains. Now this train runs between this freight terminal and the Guard City North freight terminal, and then it runs to Fort Flunwood via Tatham. Not via Dintown, but via Tatham. That's also quite important, because there will be another food line in the future that runs via the other main line. So I've actually put this extra entrance in as well. This is so that the food trains initially, but also other trains in the future, can connect to the coastal line, because we didn't have a connection between the coastal line and the freight terminal. We only had one from the Western Reaches line. That has now changed. And you can also see, assuming this has been set up correctly, which it has, takes a little while sometimes for the blocks to clear, but I've rebuilt the entrance to Motherboard Falls now. So we have a new crossover here, which doesn't look like it's being used, actually. Let me just check that. Are you being used? You should be. It's also used for freight trains, which we will exploit later on in this episode as well. I would like to get some freight trains running up the Western Reaches line. They will have to be fast trains, obviously, because they have to match the speed that we've got here. In fact, I'm going to send all of the passenger trains, these slow passenger trains, to the depot temporarily, because I want to upgrade them in today's episode as well. So it's these ones. Send to depot. Right. So now we've got the express lines on the outside here, with the slow lines on the outside of those. This centre bit here is for this depot, which is mostly going to be used for freight trains using the freight terminal, but there will also be some capacity for passenger trains here as well. It also meant we used these tunnels. Originally I was going to have a new main line that went off and up this way, but I think in reality it would make more sense to build that somewhere else. Maybe even another connection off the coastal line that goes up this way. And then this final bit that we've got here, originally we had these two loops on the freight terminal. We've now got two more, one this side of the canal, one that side of the canal. They're sort of crammed in, very much crowbarred in. I wanted to make that quite obvious as well when I was building them, that these lines were afterthoughts. It shows the evolution of this as a freight terminal for all different directions. So as other companies have slowly sort of gathered pace and started building their own industries nearby, the railway has expanded to meet the demand, essentially. Is what's happened here, and I'm going to cover it with trees as well, so it looks like it's been around for quite a long time and not just brand new. We then have these little connection lines here. So there's two connecting lines, one in and one out. There's loads of waypoints. I have actually named them, which is quite rare for me, so that I can bear with the so I can use them as reference when I'm doing train orders. So we've got the coastal entrance here. Both of these is the entrance. There is an exit one. I think it's that one. Yeah, coastal exit. There's another slowing down waypoint here, coastal approach, and then you've got loop 1, loop 2, and then I think it's loop 3, yeah, and loop 4. And they're also important because different sides. So this side here connects to this side here via loop 3. So if you have the train go into this particular freight terminal, you then have to have it be able to loop round and out again. And we will have signals. In fact, I think we do have signals here that are set up for that already. I just want to check that actually. Yeah. And that one is also done. And they're the two entrance lines. There should also be let's see. So you need to go to coastal approach, freight entry 1. Do I actually have that? Yeah, I've got if next order is. I don't have if current order is. So that might need to change as well. These ones here are named 1 and 2. It is done so that the freight trains go in the nearest slow line. So this way, running out, they will be running wrong line, but that also means they can get into the depot a lot easier. There is a bit of a crossover mishmash going on here. That's not a problem, because the junction was kind of built with that in mind anyway. There's this one bridge that stops the slow trains here from getting in the way, because they operate at 15 miles an hour over this section. But apart from that, everything is pretty good, I would say. We're in pretty good condition. We're ready to start the next bit of the freight connections. And as this episode suggests, it's not oil. I did realise this actually. I named the episode Black Gold, and I thought actually Black Gold is a term that's mostly used for oil. But this isn't oil. Today we're working with coal. We're going to try and get as much coal running on the network as possible. And maybe even some steel trains as well. That might have to be saved for next time. In fact, next time's already planned out. I mean, I'm not revealing too many spoilers because you can just go on the to-do list and see what's coming up next time. But there you go. I should do one more thing here though. I do kind of want a waypoint there. I'm just going to call this MFFT. North avoiding, like so. And I want to select this and have it go. So you go through coastal approach, and then before you go to entry 1, I do actually want you to go via there. Have I selected the right train? Oh, I have. God, that moved quick. And then I need to timetable the speed, which is this one, and reselect that for autofill. Alright, and I'm going to leave that, and hopefully it will work. I did have one problem with the train all the way over here at Sunnington, which did result, God, it's a long way, which did result in a huge queue. You can see there's a huge queue of trains here. It's slowly dissipating, so that's alright. Right, Black Gold. We're going to start working with coal. So, I need to find some coal mines first of all. And I didn't do any pre-prep, so I don't know where any coal mines are on this map, or even if there are. Oh, there's one there. Not producing a great amount of coal though. I'm going to build more coal mines around one. So if I find one, so this one here is a good bench setter. So I'm going to pause the game for this because it always speeds it up a little bit. Raw materials, coal or mineral. We're going to lower this down and we're going to build 3 tracks of 4 length, like that and like that. And then you're going to go in like so, you're going to go in like so, you're going to come across like that. We're then going to get rid of this waterway because we're going to straighten it like so. We're going to bridge over the top of it like this. You're then going to come round like this, along like this, around like this, and you're then going to bridge over it again. We've got these really nice bridges, almost perfect for high speed once we start getting into that, which we will be in the future. I keep having people asking me, when are you going to do this, when are you going to do this? My answer is simple. If it's not on the to-do list, it's not happening anytime soon. You don't need to keep asking me when it's going to happen. I have said it will do it, and the game's still running smooth, so I am intending on doing all these things, like a road network and a flight network and things like that. I just don't like people badgering me about when it is actually going to happen, because that does get incredibly irritating, as I'm sure you can understand. The to-do list is there for a reason, and the reason you guys can see it is also for a reason. It's so that you can actually see what's coming up, and therefore you don't have to ask me. If something that you want to see is happen isn't on that list, then there's no point in asking me when it's going to happen, because you already know the answer is not yet. Because if it was going to happen, it would be on the list. Nice and simple, I hope. Anyway, enough of that. Okay. So this is the first coal mine linked up. And before we go any further, there we go. We're going to build a second one, so that we get plenty of coal. The idea is that we get plenty of each material. I want to avoid going up and over this hill if possible, because these trains are going to be quite heavy. So I think it would be best if we actually went round the hill. So it does mean going a bit of a roundabout route, but it's for the benefit of the train, which is good enough for me. So I think we're going to go to here and then build a tunnel going underneath the bulk of this hill. Yeah, that's good. It's going to be a single track tunnel, so this bit here is going to be double track to make up for that. To about here, I would say, maybe a little less actually. Yeah. So there. Okie doke, and then you connect there and there and there, and whoops, there. This connects here. And then at this point, that's going to go like that. Damn it. There we go. You're going to go over the top like so. And then round. Actually, are we going to do that? No, we're not going to do that. It's just a waste of resources. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way. So we're going to let this train go a little bit further. But it's going to have to speed up a little bit. I'm assuming these trains are going really slow because of this one. Let's just check that. Should be the reason, but you never know. Whilst we're here, actually, I'm going to ask you guys something, because you might be able to help me with this. So these trains here have just been really badly messed up. Their timetables are completely kaput, and I've had to ask them to re-autofill. And the reason is, for some reason, I don't know whether it's just a patch of the game I've got, or if there's something in the game that does this and there's a way of fixing it, but it keeps redoing my timetables automatically without me asking them to. So in this case, instead of stopping at each station for 250 ticks, like I want to do with my passenger trains, it's asking them to stop for like 4,000 ticks at this one particular station. Why? Why does it do that? If anyone knows why it just randomly decides that my trains are gonna, or it just decides to redo the timetable. Never mind how long each one is, because it always varies. Like sometimes it goes up to like 15,000. Why does it do that? If anyone knows that, can you tell me please, or tell me how to fix it? Because it really is starting to drive me up the wall. It's incredibly frustrating when you're trying to run a network, you're trying to keep everything running smoothly, and then you come back and look at something and it's just completely messed up. It's not a good feeling, let's put it that way. Not a good feeling. Right, here I'm going to have a little branch diverge. We're actually going to do something a little bit different with the sidings that we're going to have here. In that we're going to have them diverge off of an existing link. Kind of like this. And then that one comes down like that. You connect up there, you connect up there. That one and that one do that. This comes across like so and connects up like that. And just realised I've got to redo this now because that no longer needs to go there. Instead needs to go there. That means that these coal trains aren't actually the ones that take the sharp corner. It'll be engineering supplies. Because I'm going to try and get supplies delivered to every single one of these raw material providers. Hopefully it'll end up working. There's another coal mine up here actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what I am going to do, because I said I would do this as well, is raw materials. 1 track, 4 length. I'm going to build you there. And you're going to come out like this. Along to here. Back one actually. This is going to branch off like this. The river's going to run around the back of this depot. I think I've left, yeah, I've left enough space for it. Not much, but just. Right, you're going to hop over like that, and you are going to run pretty much in a straight line across here, and then round. I hate the fact that I keep clicking on the wrong bloody thing. Back one again. In fact, I need a bridge here. Like that. Up here like this. Along this way. And again, it's going to look like it's sort of been crammed in at the last minute, because it really has been. Let's be honest, it has been. Like that, and then this one's going to carry on around here. And then we're going to squeeze a loop in over here somehow. Like that. Like that. Oops, again, clicking on the wrong thing. Like that, and like that. You're going to connect there and there. Similar thing on this side. I'm going to build a loop. Over here somewhere. Like that, and then bring this one in and connect you up like that. I think we'll have a depot just up here as well. Dig it into the hill. One, two, three, four. There we are. Right, signals. We want one there. We want a gap of 5 on these, like so. And then we want one here. Again, gap of 5. Path signal. We need a path signal here, and then we need one here, stretching all the way back like so, and then one, oops, there like that, and then we want a passing loop roughly halfway along this stretch, like that. Awesome. Let's get this train running first, shall we? It's going to be quite a slow moving train. All cargo types. You can see where I was working on this. So we've got these industrial ones, light freight. Or we've got the Hunslets or Jinties. Sort of all built for light freight. There is a slope. There's a couple of bridges. Do you know what? Actually, I'm going to get rid of the bridges. Or at least I'm going to get rid of the raised bridges. We're going to have them as dug-in bridges, like that. So you there, you there. And then we can use these industrials. A bit like the Foxfield Railway. And then we want just some simple coal. Where are we? Some simple coal wagons. 5-plank open wagon. Does it need... Don't think these need brake vans, but I might give them anyway. I'll use the 5 planks. There we go, and then somewhere, if I go back to this, somewhere there's a brake van. There, 10-ton brake van. Takes that up nicely. Right. Here. 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 Except here we're going to have a conditional order jump to there. Percent of times. Where are we there? 90. Service. Let's see, 750 there. Might as well do 750 everywhere actually. Get rid of that time. And the speeds. What was the maximum speed of this train? 25. Well, that's fairly obvious then, isn't it? 25 miles an hour is the maximum speed of the line. Autofill. You are coal trains. And then you are coal. Steam. What's this? Sontown to Benpool. So. And how long are you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Long. Ungrouped. You are now grouped. And then you go into there. How long was the... So... 3 should be enough. We'll set you off. We'll set these off. We don't really need the game paused for this. Not really. Maybe every now and then I will pause it, sort of out of a force of habit, but majority of the time we don't really need to pause it. Okay. So now we need somewhere for the coal to go. So for these ones I'm going to use probably probably this freight terminal as a guide. Why are you going through there? If next order is Moningpool Falls Freight Entry 1, or if next order is MFT Loop 3, then allow. So why are you going that way? Stupid. I don't even think you're on the right side to go through. No, you're not, are you? Well, you're going to have to go via Moningpool Falls then. Idiot. What a stupid thing. Anyway, you should come back and load up with food soon, I hope. Through here is where this coal train's possibly go. Actually, no, it can't, because there's no entrance from that side. Okay, so it's not going to go through there. So it is going to go to Guard City's freight terminal, where it's going to do swaps with other coal mines, of which there are going to be quite a lot. I've actually got it marked down as find 2 from each main line. I kind of want to stick with that, to be honest. Where are we going to deliver the coal to? I kind of want to go... I want to avoid this area. This area gives me such a headache trying to get trains through Brendington. So I want to avoid that like the plague. So I think if we actually head southwards... And again, I'm hesitating, because I'm getting feelings like it's not going to work. Maybe if we come out this way and run down one of these lines? No, I think that's asking a bit too much. Okay, what about northwards then? We can go up the northwest main line again, and... or we could at least get coal from up here. I think we should go up the northeast main line. It's a very underused main line at the moment. All the passenger trains even have been put away. The only ones that are running are these ones, which have got food now. That's awesome. That's very good news. So let's find somewhere up here. Maybe over this area. We can actually build somewhere for coal to be delivered. Let's pause it a second. Let's get rid of the plastics plant, because we're not going to want that. Let's build this. Actually, let's do this right next to the main line. Like so. Really build it up. We've got a huge industrial area over here. Because we are going to link up the rest of the northeast main line in the very near future. So we're going to have freight trains coming in from this side as well. So all of this area here, we're going to want to dig back. And all of this area here, we're going to want to dig back. Something a bit like this. Oops. Alright. We want to make steel, I think. Let's see. Coal. Yeah, steel mill. I mean, we could have everything here. Let's go with the steel mill first. We'll build that there. Coal mine. Right. A lime kiln. Might as well have... let's move it over one. Right next to it. And then a cement plant we'll have over the back here. Again, I can move that over one. Oops. I'm wasting money here, I know. There. And then finally a brickworks. Yeah. Fits. Okay. And then for the railway platforms, they're going to run along the back like this. So mineral platforms, we want 4 by 4. Like that and like that. And then we want another 4 by 4 like that and like that. Okay. And then processed products, we want steel. So let's see, that produces steel or metal. That produces chemicals and farm supplies. Okay. These should all be part of the same station, by the way. That would be smart, wouldn't it? 4 by 4 that way. Okay, so the lime kiln produces chemicals and farm supplies. The cement plant produces building materials, and the brickworks also produces building materials. So we want metal platforms, steel platforms, on this side, I would say. Let's do 2. Like that and like that. And then we'll also have some copper platforms here as well, just in case we build a copper plant. And then we want chemicals, or barrels. So 2 and 2, and then we want general cargo for the supplies. Like that. Let's pin that and pin that, and we'll close everything else. So these 4 here are coal. Let's build a copper. Let's see. Is copper even part of this? I'm not sure if... No, I don't think copper is. Okay. Let's check iron ore. So this needs iron ore and coal and scrap metal. Right. It also goes to an iron works, which produces metal. So what else? Stone, I think, was one of the things we wanted, wasn't it? Yeah, stone. So what else does stone go into? A lime kiln and a cement plant, which is, we've got both here. Alright, what about quarry? Quarry produces sand as well. So sand, glassworks. Yeah, let's build a glassworks. But that just produces building materials and manufacturing supplies again. Alright, hang on. About clay. Paper mill, cement plant, and brickworks. So a paper mill. Could always build a paper mill here. I don't actually know how big a paper mill is. Quite big. I want something quite small, preferably that could fit in this space here. Let's see. Clay pit, cement plant, blah blah blah. Brewery. That produces alcohol. Yeah, preferably something that can use... What about machine shop? Because that needs steel, or metal, which we produce here anyway. Hardware store, no. Furniture factory? Yeah, how big's a furniture factory? It's a 3 by 3, okay. So I could put one in this gap if I move the cement plant over one. So if I put that there, and then the cement plant, I fit in that gap there. There we go. So the furniture factory produces goods as well. So I think if we have this here as just general cargo, and then we have the barrels over on this side next to the steel. So we can use 2 by 4 barrels, barrels, and then this is the steel, steel and steel. There we go. Nice. Alright. So the steel mill needs iron ore and coal. I'm going to link all of these signals together. So let's see, that's the one that I want to pin. The rest of these I want to share with that particular signal. Share and share. Close that. Start with a deny. If, no, it's not press remove. If cargo can carry coal, then allow. But we also want, or if cargo can carry iron ore. Oops. Or if cargo can carry what's it, sand? Or if cargo can carry stone, or if cargo can carry clay, or if cargo can carry wood, or timber, I think's the one. Timber? Yeah. So see, coal, sand, clay, coal, clay, stone, iron ore, coal, scrap metal. Scrap metal. And then up here, stone and coal again. Perfect. Then allow. So these are the unloading platforms. And there's going to be 4 on each side, 8 in total. They're all going to be linked together in one big merry-go-round chain, which is actually one of the things that I wanted to talk about in today's episode whilst I was doing this. Is first of all, coal traffic in Britain. It is decreasing rapidly. More and more power stations in the UK now are using biofuel, which isn't coal. I don't know a lot about it. I know kind of what it's made up of. It's like if you cut down trees, the sawdust, that's kind of like the biofuel. I'm trying to remember the word, the exact word that's used. I think it might just be biofuel actually. But they've started to burn that because it's a lot cleaner than coal and other natural resources. It's a hell of a lot cleaner than oil. And it's just, it's better to obtain. Everyone seems happier with people using it. That does though mean that the coal traffic in the UK is dying out, which is a bit of a shame. It's not really something, you don't ever want to see anything dying out, even if there is something that's better that's come along to replace it. Because truth be told, the UK working with coal is one of the main, it used to be the main reason why we were the leaders of the Industrial Revolution. We had coal in abundance and now we don't. Most of the coal mines in the UK have now closed down as well. So it's a bit of a shame to see that that is the case. But if it's for the benefit of the environment and things like that, then who are we to complain, really? You know, there are other matters that are more important right now. I just realised I probably put those signals in the wrong spot actually, because I don't really think we need them there. So I'm going to rebuild this. Again, I'm sort of improvising this right now. There's a very good chance that this is not what it looks like at the end, but you never know. But yeah, coal traffic in the UK is diminishing. That's one of the main things I wanted to talk about. And coal traffic was a huge part of the freight network in the UK as well. There were a lot of freight paths that became available again once the last of the coal trains had finished running. There is still some coal traffic in the UK. It's not completely gone. It's not just for power stations. There are other reasons why we need coal in the UK. But that was the main reason. And as I say, it is dying out. However, before that happened, and before the coal traffic died out, the UK had recently started bringing in something called MGR trains. Now, MGR trains, Quite simply, it means merry-go-round. And what that means is originally, way back in the days of BR, coal and other goods were transported in mixed trains, where they were taken to a freight terminal or a goods yard of a station, and then it was all sort of split up into destinations and things like that. And essentially, goods trains used to pick up and drop off as they went along. There used to be certain signals at certain stations would indicate whether or not there was goods waiting to be picked up or not, which is something I only found out about recently, actually. I think that's a really clever way of doing it, because I used to wonder how, like, would the drivers be told beforehand they need to pick up freight from here, here and here, or would there be something indicating it on the track? It turns out there's something indicating on the track. There used to be a signal that used to display. But after a while, I mean, it's not the most efficient way of doing it, we can all agree, and after a while BR sort of cottoned on to that fact as well. They never changed it during that time necessarily, but nowadays we have the merry-go-round trains, and what that essentially means is basically what we're building here. A freight drop-off area has an in-road and an out-road, and the train goes round a complete circuit, essentially completing a merry-go-round. The cars were designed with dropping off in mind, so there were hoppers where it could be, the coal could be dropped in to fill up, and then there was a little hatch at the bottom of the car that would open up as the train passed over a certain point at the drop-off, and that's where the drop-off would occur. Again, it's really clever. It's something so simple but so brilliant at the same time. It's really, really well thought out and done. But that's what happened. If anyone knows of the Class 20s, they're really, really, I want to say funny looking diesels, but I don't think that's very fair. They're really, again, I'm losing my words today. Not good. They're strange shaped diesels. They have a cab at one end, and they kind of have like a semi-rounded nose at the other end. They were designed for sort of light freight traffic, but one of their duties was eventually operating merry-go-round coal trains, which did mean that they had to have special adaptations made to them so they could operate at slow speeds, because obviously once you're dropping off, you do operate at the slow speed, crawling speed. I think it was like 5 miles an hour was the maximum speed, maybe even slower. So Class 20s are the other thing I wanted to talk about today. They were a mainstay of freight traffic in the UK. They were designed for that, but they were designed for light goods. They ended up operating a lot heavier trains. The way that it worked was they were 1,000 brake horsepower as individuals, and they had a cab at one end, which wasn't very good for visibility. It's a bit like on a steam engine. If you can't see along the length of the boiler because of the way the cab's been set up. And this was something that was sort of complained about quite a lot. So again, thinking on their feet and doing something quite novel, they decided to operate the trains in multiple. In other words, there were 2 Class 20s per train, with the cabs at each end, which also doubled the power. So you end up with these trains that can now operate with quite heavy loads because of the amount of power that these individual units supplied. So they were used on sort of mixed freights to start with, but eventually they were used on all manner of freight trains. They also operated on quite a few passenger trains as well, and they still operate. That's what's so great about them, is they are still in operation today. Not as much as they used to be, and there is a real danger at the moment that they will be made redundant soon. But at this moment in time, at the time of recording, they are still in operation, which I think is really, really cool. They're one of the last survivors of, in fact, I think they are the last survivor of their type. The type of diesel that they are, pretty much all of them have died out now. They're no longer used, but the Class 20s are still going strong. They became very, very important in coal traffic. They were bought by the National Coal Board when that became a thing, and were operated. They were also, whoops, building that in the wrong place again. They were also used on other freight. At the moment, they get a lot of use on nuclear flask trains, which again I think is something that's quite dangerous in some respects, but also quite novel. Is the fact that they are used on nuclear trains, basically. They carry they convey the nuclear flasks between power stations and disposal sites and whatnot. Quite cool. Freight isn't my area of expertise. I think you can work that out by me talking about this now. But I'm taking more of an interest in lots of things in general, but that is definitely one of the things that I'm taking more of an interest in, because it is a rich part of our history. You know, a lot of railways in Britain were originally built for freight, and then passengers came afterwards. The world's first railway between two towns was the Stockton and Darlington Railway, and that was built to carry coal. So coal is a huge part of the history of British railways. Where's the signal? There it is. So I'm going to tuck this in just here. And we're not going to make it go up and over, we're going to make it go level through this little bit. Because again, we don't want our heavy freight trains having to go up steep hills, at least not here. Other parts of the network they will have to, but not just where they're picking stuff up from, because that's not very efficient. Also, just noticed that that curve wasn't very efficient. We want to try and keep our trains at as fast a speed as possible operating through this section. So yeah, that's kind of a very brief and not very well told history of freight in Britain. Honestly, I never do a good job of telling these stories. Sometimes I do. If I really know about the subject, I can do a good job of it. But that's, as I said, freight isn't my specialty. It used to be something, like with a lot of things in my life at the moment, I had no interest in freight for a long time. And it's only really from this series, building freight services like this, that I've started actually taking an interest in doing some research. And, I mean, yeah, you find out quite a lot. So I'm going to open my eyes a lot more to things like that, because it is a part of our history. I've started watching a lot of documentaries recently as well about the history of British railways, because people do ask me questions, and sometimes I do have to look up the answer, in all honesty. But as you know, I don't shy away from that. I don't pretend that I don't Google things. I know I do, you know I do, because I openly admit it. Sometimes I have to Google things because I genuinely don't know, but then that's how you learn. You know, people ask you something that you might not necessarily know the answer to, and you look it up and you learn something new, and it's really cool. But that's definitely happening more and more often with people's questions. Is I'm genuinely struggling with the answer, so I will work on that. Don't worry. I don't like not being able to answer a question, because then the people who have asked it don't learn it either, which isn't very fair. Right. You can see I am building the entrance here. There's a lot of tracks coming in. We're somehow going to have to get these 8 tracks down into 2, which is kind of what's going to happen here. So this track and this track are going to come in like that. This track and this track are going to come in like that, and then these two like this, and then these two like this. We're going to connect these up again, and then that one's going to come in like this. So is this one. This one's going to come in like that, and so is this one. And again, we run these along for a little bit more. Like so. Like that. And again, we make a cut right here. And then this one like this. This one like this. And then we do one more set of crossovers. One there like that. And one here like this. And these are our 2 inroads. And hopefully, with a bit of luck, we don't get too many trains ending up queuing up to get in. Now this section here, we are going to end up with trains having to go up a slope, because obviously this is built up a level from the rest of the main line here. It's a question of where we're going to actually build that so it doesn't become too much of a problem. Well, this one's going to loop round. It's going to connect up probably over here. And again, I'm just looking because that suddenly it seemed like a really good idea at the time. I suppose if I do this and do a little bit of line reprofiling, like so, and then these ones as well, and that also means this one's going to have to come across one more too, and then we scrap this line completely and we get rid of all of these and we get rid of all of these, and we put that like that. Right, this one goes here, that one goes that way round. That one was fine, but we don't actually need that one, so we're going to take it out. And then it should now be a simple case of doing this. Now at this point here, I'm going to lift all of this land up. Pretty much all of the land around here I'm going to lift up, because that way I can just build a bridge straight across like that. Do cantilever. It's probably going to be the best option. And then this line here can just go along like this, maybe. Scrap that. Do this. And do this. That's one entrance done. And the other one... Whoops. I went the wrong way there. The other one I need to connect up over here. So actually, yeah, I might do it here. Just here. Have it come off like that. Through. Whoop, that tunnel's a bit too long. If I bring this way a bit more, and then it should, there you go, go underneath like that, and then along, and connects up like that. Perfect. Like so and like so. You become path signals. So did these ones. And those ones are already done. Brilliant. Right. Time to set up these signals. So this one, first of all, you are a deny. If cargo can carry, so what have we got? Steel and metal. I'd like to try and do it in alphabetical order, so chemicals would be the first one. If cargo can carry oil, I think. No, not oil. Petrol, then. In fact, no, because that's not being... What's being picked up here? Is it just chemicals? Yeah, I think it's just chemicals. It's the only liquid. So chemicals is the only one we need. So then metal is the other one. Done. Then allow. Right. This one next to it is all of the oil and all of the coal ones. So clay, coal, because these are the drop-off platforms. Keep doing this wrong. It's an or if. Cargo. So clay, coal, iron ore, or if cargo, oil? Does that need to come here? No, it doesn't, does it? So it must be sand. Then scrap metal. Scrap metal. There. And then stone. Oh, and then timber. Or if cargo can carry timber. Okay. This one just copies from this one. And then the one at the end, you copy from here. Now what were these ones again? I was building materials, goods, and farm supplies. So building materials, goods, and farm supplies. So actually this one should be goods. This one should be farm supplies. Building materials, goods, farm supplies, metal. Okay. Now which way round did I have these again? I had the steel platforms on the inside, didn't I? So this one will copy from here, except we'll just have the one. Deny, allow. And you will just carry metal, manufacturing supplies, metal. And then this one will copy from that, except you are chemicals. Okay. Which way around did I have it over here? In fact, which ones did I have over here? That's another good question. Should have just general cargo I'm going to have on the outside, and then I'm going to have containers here and here. So the inside one is going to be goods. Goods. And the outside one is going to be building materials and farm supplies. Building materials, or if cargo can carry farm supplies. Okay, and that should be this setup. Clay, coal, iron ore, manufacturing supplies, sand, scrap metal, stone and timber. So manufacturing supplies is just for this in general. So eventually I will build an extra set of platforms somewhere and have just manufacturing supplies be dropped off. So we've got the big drop-offs in the center, which I don't need to connect up, I don't think. And then we've got the pickups on the outside, and they're all connected round to the main line in both directions. Perfect. Now we just need a waypoint smack bang in the middle here for speed up and slow downs. We don't really need one here because we've got this platform here, and on this side again we've got Honningville here, so we don't really need it. So we can actually start having our first train running in here now. So I need a depot site. I might do actually. I might build a depot in this gap here. Let's lift all this land back up first. So it's all sort of, again, I like the idea of sort of, whoops, burying my tracks a little bit if I can, and disguising it with trees, because eventually this is all going to get overgrown again anyway, so might as well start early, you know. That looks horrible. Absolutely no effort made there whatsoever to try and disguise the fact that there's a freight terminal here. There we go, it kind of does it. And then over here, like that, and then all along here. And then all the way along this bit as well. Like that. Trees, let's cover it up a little bit. Imagine this is going to cost a lot. Certainly seems to be. Right, good. Now, if I'm going to build a depot, I am going to build it on this centre road, so means I'm going to have to cut this back slightly. Which does mean reconfiguring this junction a little bit, actually. Actually, not necessarily. If I put that signal there, get rid of this one, because we'll move it back one, and then that can just go there like that. Yeah, that's kind of better. Right. And then we're going to have a depot, or sidings, in this gap, which, yes, does mean ripping out some of the trees again, unfortunately. I'm not good for the environment. I've worked that out. Not good at all. I think 4 should be enough. I'll be a bit peeved if it's more than 4. Fixtures, this, drag and drop. So I've not really left myself much room for expansion here. In fact, I think I need to move this back one more. Do this, and then that will be the end. Move this back as well. Let's see. Change this. So that one will come in like that. This one will come in like this. That one, of course, will go across like that. And then these ones will connect like this. Okay, now we need a bridge. Just going to go across into this section. This is really inefficient, I know. And we're also going to have a section. Again, I need to move this signal back. Actually, do I? No, I don't. No, I don't. Because I'm going to run a second tunnel through here. Like this. Lower all this down. That's going to go across like that. That's going to go there. Right, and then this is going to come along and into the gap. Like this, where it's going to connect up. That one's going to come in like that, and then this one's going to come here just so we have a little bit more room for signals. And then we're going to have the depot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's terribly inefficient. I know this is going to be awful, but it'll do for now. Once our freight expands, we will of course have to change this. But right now it will do. So that's going to go like that. That's going to convert to that. And then in here, that's just going to run down and connect up with that. And this is going to upgrade to path signal. This one over here already is a path signal, is it not? Yep. Right, so what are we going to call this place? Sindwood Industrial Park. Something like that. Which is SIP. This is going to be SIP entry exit. Like so. I do also need to do a little bit more landscaping. Let's get rid of this forest, it's a bit in the way. I know we do need some timber, which that would have been helpful for, but it is in the way, unfortunately. Like that, and then we're going to put loads of trees of random types. Like the randomness. Always go for the randomness if you can. Get some more money in the bank, because we do need some. Right, should we start getting some coal trains running? I think we should. So let's go right the way back over to the coast. It's a long way up. Here it is. Okay, so we've got the little shunters conveying coal here. Now we need to get the big shunters, big boy trains, to run the coal. So I think we're going to go with the 210s again. And of course we're going to double up. Or are we? No, I think we are. I think we are. Just to start with. Maximum speed. Actually no, cargo capacity. Coal. We want the biggest one at the top. So we've got the open wagons, which can hold a lot of coal. Or we've got these open wagons, or the self-discharging hopper, which holds less, but is actually probably better for what we want. Or we can just go with the short hoppers, or the monster boxes. I kind of want to go with something a bit more old-fashioned, maybe the PGA hoppers, which in my mind stands for Professional Golf Association, but I know that that's not what it stands for in this case. Hopper wagons small. I think, oh no, we're using the 5 planks. Maybe the PGAs, or maybe they're too slow. They're the merry-go-round hoppers again. They're a little bit too slow. I think we want something that goes quite fast actually. So maybe this one, 100 miles an hour, short and sweet. There we go. Okay. Let's first of all categorize this. So you were bent, weren't you? So coal, steam, BENP to SIP. It will have a classification. And how long were you? I didn't count. Should always count. I'm going to guess 13 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, 15. I was close. Whoops, that was a mistake. Alright, you go into that. You go into that. Okay, so you first of all go here. You then go here. I think at this point we'll run you... Yeah, we do need to put some waypoints in, I think. One there and one there. And we also want another one probably here. Okay, and then we want some out on this main line as well. One there and one there. Okay, so you load up at the mine. You then come out via this waypoint. You then come out via this waypoint where you hit top speed. You run along the coastal line, like so. You go via the farm. You then get to here. Was there a waypoint here somewhere? Is it that one? I suppose we could use that one to slow down in order to come through here and then out there. Continue to run along the coastal line all the way via all this stuff. Right. Pribor North via the station and then up via this waypoint and then this waypoint out onto the main line here. You run past all this stuff. I think there's some coal mines down here that we can link up as well. Here, here, here. All the way along up to the airport. Here, here, and here. Again, we still have trains using this loop for some reason, and I really don't know why. Oh well. Alright, Great Winfield East, all the way along like this, to here. You then go via here, up through all this section, via this waypoint, and then via this waypoint into the freight terminal, via the loop, back to the freight terminal, via this waypoint here, and then up through. I need to check this. There, I think it goes across. Certainly looks as though it does. Through all of this. Now this should be can't carry passengers, then allow. Good. Up to here. And then from Plint Bridge north, I think I'm going to build a freight only section, maybe cutting off this corner. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I think actually after Plint Bridge, what are these signals set to? So this one will be only allow if you go faster than 90. What's this one set to? If speed is less than 90. If cargo can't carry passengers, then allow. There. Right. Up through all of this rubbish, up to Flat Bridge, via this waypoint, via this waypoint. Actually, maybe not this one. Just Don'tborough. Through Don'tborough station itself, and then via here, and then up through all of this rubbish, up through all this rubbish, via this waypoint, here and here, and then here. Yeah, now we start coming into the freight terminal. I think we could do with another waypoint. One there, one there. The two entrances just for slowdown purposes, and then on the way out, one there and one there. So you are SIP exit north. You are SIP exit south. And then over here, you are entry north. SIP entry north. And this one is SIP entry south. Now I'm going to kind of go against code here. Normally I would say 15 miles an hour through these, but because it's a merry-go-round and because it's all big open tracks like this, I'm very tempted just to make it 30 still. So you'll come in here at 45 obviously, and then you'll hit this waypoint where you'll slow down to 30, then you'll go into your respective freight side, so either left or right. I'm assuming this one will just go straight ahead and into here, and then when you come out again, still 30 until you hit this waypoint where you go up to 45, and in fact I think I might move that away from the junction, because that was not a very efficient place to put it in. Likewise with this one, I'm going to move it to somewhere here, exit north. Just check that is the right one, exit north. Yep, good. Right, so here you go exit south, and then you come back out onto this section, SIP entry exit, and then you carry along the main line as normal. We'll go via here again just to be safe, via here, and then essentially just follow this back. We should then hopefully run smoothly through all of this. Right, now this bit we want to use the avoiding line here. So I'm going to use this Guard City North avoiding. Because I've used it for food trains to avoid having to go around the overground line through all of these junctions, and I also use it essentially here to avoid having to go through between the northwest and the northeast main lines. You avoid having to go into God City and out again. It's actually a very useful... Actually, that's not the right one. Ha! Always helps if you go on the right line, doesn't it? It's this one. This is GFFT avoiding and entry / exit. There's a lot in the name there. Right. Scroll down here. GFFT avoiding entry and exit, and then we come round this way here, go through this bit here. Takes us back onto the overground line, which we follow all the way around to here, and then to this waypoint here, which we then follow all the way down to here, here, and here. Follow this line all the way down to Woolworth, and here, and then follow this line all the way down here, and here, and then of course via here and here. And now I think it's a straight run home, is it? Oh no, not quite. Not quite. We do have to go via this waypoint and this waypoint and this waypoint. Now it's pretty much a straight run home. It is a long, long way. Right, that one, and then this one, and then where did I put it? There's one. Oh yeah, up here, and then into there. Phew. Right. Sontown Woods, no loading, no unloading. I should also tell these trains, when you get here, transfer and leave empty. Yes. Okay. This one here, yep, load, and then all of these are non-stop vias. We literally run express all the way through. We're with non-stop via. Non-stop via. Here is no loading. Here is no unloading. And then all of these are non-stop via again. Okay, and then we get to here. It should just empty. And then we head back. A bit I'm really not looking forward to doing with this is the speed limit. That's going to be an absolute pain in the derriere, I can tell you now. Just fiddly. It's not difficult, it's just fiddly. And I hate fiddly. Whoops. Non-stop via. I wish there was a way that you could just program it. Like press a button and it will just, like, not so much copying orders, but it will use other orders as reference. So if I just press copy freight, then it will know at certain points. Actually, yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Have it so that you can program certain parts of the line. So going through like Great Winfield East, Sorry, Great Winfield Airport, for example. I always have it slow down to 45 to go through and then speed up again. So program it. So you get to a certain point in the orders and you just press Great Winfield and it will know that it follows the orders as if it's going through it, and it sets the speed limits accordingly. That'd be so much more helpful. I assume this is carrying coal. Yeah, good. It's always something worth checking. Right, timetable. The non-fun bit. Change speed limit first. Right, change this to 1500, and then change this to 5000. And then these ones, I'm going to have a 750 actually. So I imagine there's going to be lots of different coal streams coming from lots of different places, going off to lots of different places. So we want to make sure that we get the maximum. We're also going to have this at 750. And then we come back and yeah, 1500 in the depot again, why not? Autofill. Right. Now into the mine. So this little section here, we're going to run at 15 miles an hour. Because at this point we're not that worried about getting trains in and out properly. It's only at the other end. We want trains moving through there quite fast. So the first bit... Actually, no, sorry, it's this one. I wanted to change to 15. This one's quite happy being 30. Then it goes to 45. And then it comes out here, and I'm actually going to just set it as 100. Simple as that. Once we upgrade the trains in the future, it will tick over to 100, because I think the maximum speed of these trains is 50, which isn't that great. Right, here at Menningville, we're going to slow down to 50. And then through here, going to speed up to 60. And then you come out this side and you're going to go back up to 100. And then Preyborn down to 50. Through the junction. Out the other side of the station, you're also going to be 50. And then you're going to hit this waypoint, you're going to drop to 45 because you're going through there. And then you hit this side again, and I guess this bit is maybe 75 maximum. So I think the trains running on that route are only going to be running at 75 maximum. The coastal route is kind of an extension of the western reaches, which is why it's so much faster. This is 45 through there. And through here. This bit is 75. And then via Great Winfield West, 45. Great Winfield Airport, 45. Out this side here, back up to 75. Right, GSP release 45, and then drops to 30, hits here and goes up to 45, slows down to 30, into the freight terminal, 15 round the loop, although I might change that in the future as well, just to get trains running through there again quickly. Out here is 30, through Plint Bridge is 45, and then out again at 75, up to Dontborough, through Dontborough at 45, I think it is. I have it set to. I think so. Scroll this down. Tunfing Bridge back up to 75. Great Barnville, 45. Through Punfingford at 45. How are we doing for time? An hour and 20. Oh dear. Back out here is 75. But then we hit the entry. Oh, hang on. I think this stays at 45 actually. Yeah, because then we come into entry south and it drops to 30, 30. Exit south, goes back up to 45. Have I missed out? I think I've missed out some waypoints here. North of... Oh no, it is, yeah. I'm going to rename this while I'm here, because it's going to annoy me otherwise. Parfingford. So let's see. It comes out the exit here, and it will hit 75 again. And then it hits Parfingford and it drops to 45 to go through the airport. I get it now. And then this side is also 45. Okay, and then South Box here, 75. And then it drops to 45 again. And 45 again. And then 75 till we get to Plint Bridge. And then 45. And this one here as well, 45. Okay, and then 30 through that section of the overground, and then 45 again. No, 75. I'm getting it all wrong now. 75? Yeah, 75. And then 45 through here. And through here. And then 75 here. And then 45 here and here. And then 75 here. And then 45 through this little section here. And then 50 through Preyborn. Like that. And then we hit Preyborn North and it's 100. All the way up to Bedtown where it drops to 50. Through here. And then out here it's going to be 100. Whoops. 100 to Foofberg Springs Waypoint 2. Yeah. And then it drops to 60 maybe. Hang on. Let's come back this way. So which point does it tuck in? Here. So I think we need an extra waypoint, perhaps. For just before it turns off. So let's let this APT progress forward a little bit first. Come on, game. It's chugging along now, because that's the problem now. All these trains ahead are really going slow, and it's just they're all matching each other's speed, so they don't have to stop and wait. Just what's making this one go slow as well. There we go. So if I put a waypoint here, like that, that's pinned. So it's just before Foofberg Springs number 2. Which is there. So we're going to stick you there like that. Number 3. Okay, so this is 100. And then it slows down to, let's say, 75. And then it slows down to 45. And this one should be number 2. Yes. So after number 2 here, yeah, 45. Into here where it drops to 30 there. And then 15 here. And then finally out of the depot, 10. Done. I didn't check how many we needed. 10. I'm going to do 15, I think. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, I'll start off with 10. And if need be, I'll add 5 more. That should be more than enough. Alright then, guys. That will do it for this episode. I will do some more coal trains off camera. This is kind of giving you an example as to how I'm doing coal trains now. So that you can use it as reference if need be. I think there are some people out there that are, I don't want to use the word copying because it doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean. They're using my work as reference in their own work, which I don't have a problem with. You know, I don't necessarily own the rights to this. I'm not going to go into all intellectual property or anything like that. But what would be nice if you do make your own videos of it, if you actually do mention where you got the ideas from. That's always nice, because then it doesn't look like you're hiding something. Not that anyone is, of course. Right, so I'm going to get these trains out, and I'm going to let them run their route, and then we're going to hopefully come back next time and start working on the next building project, which is going to be quite a big one. I hope. Should be quite a big one. So I haven't quite followed the to-do list in that I haven't quite used the main lines that I had planned out, but I have made a coal mine here with another coal mine right next to it here. This will of course accept engineering supplies and manufacturing supplies in the future, although I think that's for the furniture factory. Yeah, so it's engineering supplies is what we really need here. I might get rid of this and build another coal mine here. Plus we have the extra coal mine up here with this train that is not that full, to be honest. Do we have anything waiting here? 8 kilos of coal. I might, just for the hell of it, raw materials, grab some of this and just do something like this, and maybe around the back here, and then over here huge coal piles there with some of these. Let's see, one there and one there maybe, so it can load up 2 at once. I mean, it's just eye candy, it doesn't necessarily have to be placed anywhere in particular. And we'll have one here as well. Alright, that will do it for this episode, guys. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series, drop some comments down below with ideas for future episodes. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. And until next time, I will see you soon.